Hey y'all, my name is Lindsay Conan Mitchell and I am a superstar director. I just recently celebrated 11 years with Cincy and this is my full-time job. I could not be happier to be a part of such an amazing company with all of y'all amazing people. So today I wanted to chat with y'all about focusing on your frontline, which is something that is super important if you're serious about your business. If you're serious about working this full-time, if you're serious about making that life-changing income, if you're serious about promoting to the next level and doing all the things in order to run a successful business, focusing on your frontline is something that needs to be a part of your routine. It's something that needs to be a consistent part of your business. So to kick things off, I'd like to talk about how it is important to have relationships with this whole business. Everything in our business is built on relationships, and that includes the relationships that you have with your frontline. You can't help them if you don't have a relationship with them. And that goes beyond Cincy. You've got to get to know them. You've got to get to know why they're here, why they joined, what their why is, what their purpose with all of this is. You can't lead them the way that they need to be led if you're unsure of why they're here and what they want out of it. Also, too, that's going to let you know where your focus needs to be. You're going to have people in your front line who are just hobbyists, who are here just to supply their own product for their own personal needs, people who are here just for fun, or the people who are here because they want to make some extra money or are wanting to make a full-time income out of this. So the people who are here just for fun as a hobby, or maybe they're just here to supply their own products for their own stash, they're not going to need as much from you as someone who is looking to supplement their income and create a part-time income, or someone who's looking to make this their full-time job with full-time income. So it's important to have that relationship to understand where they are. Now, just because they're not interested in it being a full-time business right now doesn't mean that that won't change later on, but you've got to know where they are currently so you know how to help them. There are those people, and I have them in my front line. They're just here to put in an order every couple of months for their own personal use, and maybe they're close friends or family, but they're not running it as a business, and that's totally okay. But those people are going to require a different level of attention and training than the people who are wanting to make this their full-time job or trying to make this a large supplement to the income that they already have. So it's important to start working on those relationships with your frontline immediately. I'm not saying that you've got to go be best friends with them and dig into their deepest, darkest secrets, but you do need to form a connection and build a relationship of some sort. So that starts with getting to know them, understanding what their journey is about, understanding why it is they clicked that join button, and understanding why they're here and what they're wanting to get out of it. And that starts from the very beginning. Now, it's important to communicate with these people regularly. However, you don't want it to be bothersome. You don't want it to be a burden to them. You don't want them to see your name pop up on their phone and them go, oh gosh, what does she want now? Oh gosh, what is she calling me about now? And that goes back to the relationship that you need to build with them. So from the very beginning, when they join on, start simple. Start with something simple. What's your goals here? Why did you join? What can I do to help you? You're going to know right away where you will stand and where things will fall into play for you as their leader. If they're not interested right now in it being a full-time thing, then you know that your focus can go a little bit elsewhere into the people who are wanting it to be a full-time thing, and vice versa. But even if they are just part-timers or hobbyists, or they're just here to supply their own product, you still want to have that connection with them. And it can be something as simple as, becoming friends on Facebook, or shooting them an email once a month just to let them know that you were thinking about them. Just checking in, just saying, hey, I'm here for you, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Something simple. What you also want to keep in mind as you're working with your frontline is that you're not always going to have just 2 or 3 frontline or 5 to 10 frontline. You're going to get to a point in your organization where you've built a very large foundation of frontline consultants, people who are directly under you. You don't want to start doing something for 4 or 5 people that you can't keep up and maintain with 40 to 50 people. So it's important to put little systems in place that can help you stay on track as your group of frontline consultants grow. Now, it's also a good idea to have a goal of how many frontline consultants you'd like to have, a goal of how many active frontline consultants you'd like to have, and that can go year to year or month to month. For me personally, I have a goal of 100 frontline. I'm currently around 80, but my goal is to have 100 frontline, and I have a goal to have at least 50% of them active every single month. So does that mean that I can do for the 80 frontline that I have right now what I was able to do when I only had 8 of them? No. And that's something you need to think about when you first start putting plans and systems in place for tending to your frontline. If you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to talk to every single one of my frontline for 15 minutes once a week. That's great if you've only got 5 frontline. But as your group grows, that's not logical. There's no way I could have a 15-minute conversation with all of my frontline once a week. So you need to think about things that you can put into place that you will have time for, that you will be able to do as your group grows, a group of frontline grows from 5 to 15 to 50 and up. I know there are leaders in Cincy that have well over 100 and over 200 frontline. They have systems in place that allow them to be present for their frontline and lead them the way that they need to be led. Now, here's the thing, like I mentioned earlier, not all of them are going to need the same amount of time, training, and attention. All of them are going to be different. I have frontline that I spend a whole lot more time with because they're in a place in their business where they need more from me. They are not just here to supply their own products. They're not here just for fun as a hobby. They're here because they're serious about it. So my investment in them is going to be different than those who are just wanting to supply their own stash. I'm going to be able to devote a little bit more time and energy into them because of where they are and what they need from me. Now, it's important to understand those things because you could come off in a way that pushes people away. If you've got someone who really needs your time and attention because they're serious about taking their business to the next level and you're not available for them, and I don't mean like you need to talk to them on the phone every single day, but if they're needing the effort and the investment and the time and the training from you and you've kind of pushed them off as a hobbyist consultant, that can be discouraging to them. That can be off-putting to them. It could make them think, okay, well, maybe I really don't need to do this. So it's very, very important to understand what your frontline want out of this and how you can help with where they're wanting to go, with what their why is. So some of the things that I do, and everybody's different. You are an independent consultant. This is your business. What works for me isn't always going to work for you, and what works for the next person won't always work for me. But it is important to find things that do work for you, things that you're comfortable with, things that you see results from, and things that you can duplicate. If you are doing things that you are not able to duplicate for multiple people, then it's not a good place to start. You want to find things that you can duplicate that other people are going to see you doing and be able to duplicate as well. So finding what works for you regardless of what that looks like. Some of the things that I do are for my frontline only. I communicate on terms that are convenient for them. So I find out, are they a texter? Are they more Facebook Messenger person? I do Marco Polo for a certain set of people. Phone calls for some are, I'm going to be totally honest, I can't stand talking on the phone. I hate it. But for some people, that's what works for them. So for that select group of people in my frontline, I'll make the time to do so for them when it's necessary. But I make sure that I've got multiple forms of communication available for each person and what will work best for them. Now, for the people who don't really need me, they're just here doing their thing, entering an order every couple of months, I don't really reach out to them as regularly as I would someone else, but I still communicate. I still have communication with them on my team page, and then I do at least one email a month for different reasons, whatever we happen to have going on at that point within the company. An email is something that's super easily duplicated. Now, there are people I know that have like a Team Tuesday email that goes out. That's something that you can do and send only to your frontline. Frontline Friday, Motivational Monday, whatever you want to do. An email is easily duplicated. So It doesn't cost anything. It's very little time, and it's a way to send a mass message to everybody in your front line in one swoop. That's a great place to start. And actually, that's one of the places that I started before I even became a director. I had 3 people in my group, and I started what we called Wahoo Wednesday. That was 11 years ago, y'all. 3 people in my group. We did Wahoo Wednesday, and I sent it to everybody every Wednesday with things like important announcements in the company, group stats, shout outs for anybody who earned something like shooting star, sensational start. That is something that you can implement with your frontline as well. Sending an email just to those people. Something else that I do is recognition for my frontline only. I know that I have people in my group that will never be top sales. They're never going to hit $2,000 in a month, but they're consistent with their $200 every month or their $500 every month. And I want them to know that they're important too, that their hard work is appreciated also, and that it doesn't go unnoticed. So postcards is something that I do that is super simple. It's cost effective, and it's not very time consuming. I've got these cute little postcards. I don't even know who made them, so I can't give credit to the original creator. But it's basically just a shout out saying, hey, great job on having, and there's a blank, over in PRV this month. So over 200 in PRV this month. And I do those every single month for anyone who had $200 in PRV or more in my frontline. Because, like I said, there are people who are never going to be top sales in my group, but they're still my frontline, and their hard work and effort is still important to me and is still appreciated from me. So I want them to be recognized for that. That's a great way to recognize those people who are consistently showing up in their business, and a way for you to continue building that connection and relationship with them. So there are some people that I hardly ever talk to ever, but they're going to get an email from me, and if they sold $200 or more in PRV, they're going to get a postcard from me. They're going to know who I am and that I do see them putting in work. Something else that I have done in the past, I don't do it anymore because we have incorporated, as our group has grown, we have incorporated things like this with all of the directors in my group and all of our teams. But something that I used to do was send in a text. I would send a text out every week and say, hey, your top 5 for this week, or your top 5 for this group, or whatever. So you could incorporate something like that. Let's say you're still a small group. Maybe you've only got 5 to 10 people in your group. Sending out a text message every Friday that says, congrats, you're currently number 1 in sales for our group, or you're number 1 in sales for my frontline. That's a way to communicate and recognize those people in your frontline without spending money, without investing a lot of time, and still offering up that communication. As your group grows or your frontline grows, I keep referring to group and team and frontline when I know this is specifically about focusing on your frontline, but a lot of things that you can do for your group and your team are things that you can simplify and focus down onto just your frontline only. So some of the things that I'm saying could apply for everybody, but you really want to make sure that it is your frontline that you're putting a lot of focus into. That's where your business is going to build, is from your frontline. If you've only got one frontline and that person is building a large group under them, you can't go any further without that width in your frontline. You can't go beyond a lead consultant if you've only got that one person in your frontline, regardless of how big their group gets underneath them. So when I'm saying things like your group or your team, yes, it can apply to all of them, but you really want to make sure that your focus is on your frontline. So postcards, text messages, email, and then figuring out what their preferred method of communication is. Regardless of what you choose to implement, you want to be consistent with it. You want to make sure that they see you showing up month after month after month after month, doing the things that you started out doing. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to commit to something for life. If you're doing something that you see, you know what, this doesn't quite work for me. I bit off more than I can chew. I can't duplicate this. This is requiring a whole lot more investment financially or time-wise or whatever. That doesn't mean you're stuck and you can't change. That's not what I'm saying. But if you decide to implement something like postcards for the people in your front line who have gotten active or above, that's that's something you want to be consistent with and show up with month after month after month after month. It's something that I implemented way a few years ago. And now my frontline is to the point where they look for those postcards. Not that they expect it. They're looking for it because they're excited about it. Do something that's going to make your people excited. Do something that they're going to look forward to. Do something that you know you can continue to duplicate that is going to get you the results that you want to get. If you're not seeing the results that you want, change it up. It's okay to change it up. You just need to find what works and then be consistent with it. You need to find what is going to allow you to build that connection and build the relationships with your frontline and then be consistent with it. So like I said, with the postcards, it's something that they look forward to. I've got girls who save them every single month and have them displayed in their office or on their little vision board or whatever, showing where they earned that active postcard every single month. Now, if I wasn't consistent with it and I wasn't showing up with it, it probably wouldn't mean as much because they wouldn't know to look for it. You know, they'd be like, oh, well, I might get one and I might not. I don't want them thinking that way. I want them knowing, hey, this is going to come because she's going to recognize my hard work. Also, too, it's important to understand that you are there for them. Yes, essentially, we're all building a business together, but it is not always all about you. You cannot always make it about you. You are not here, or they're not here to make sure that you make your numbers. Your team is not here to help you advance. They did not click that join button so that you could promote to the next level. They did not click that join button so that you could earn an incentive or so that you could earn an award. They clicked that join button for a reasoning that's personal to them. So you need to be sure that when you're working with them and leading them and training with them and being available to them, that it is about them. If you're reaching out to them going, hey girl, I need you to place an order because we're super close to promoting to superstar consultant this month. Hey girl, are you putting in any more orders because I'm about to hit director numbers and I need you to have some more PRV. It is not about you at all. You've got to figure out what they want from it and how they can benefit from it. Things like, hey girl, I just wanted to let you know that you're super close to being active this month. If you put in an order of X amount of dollars, it's going to get you there and you'll earn a paycheck of blah, 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 whatever the case may be. Or, hey girl, I just wanted to let you know, or hey friend, it's not always a girl, obviously. I've got lots of Scentsy men on my team and we love them too. So, hey friend, just wanted to let you know that you're only $300 away from promoting to certified. Great job. If you get there this month, you're going to earn not only a promotion, but a raise, which increases your commission from 20% to 25%. It's about them. Make it about them. It's not about you and what you're going to get out of it. If you're projecting that image onto the people in your front line, you're going to shut them out. You're going to shut them off. They're going to be like, really? Is this all about her? And essentially, at the end of the day, their hard work and effort does benefit you too. But if you don't have an arrows out mentality, you're not going to get anything from the business. If you don't have an arrows out mentality with your frontline, you're not going to be able to form the connection that you need in order to have a successful relationship and a successful business with them. You've got to think about what they can benefit from it. If you know someone's here because they're needing to make more money to pay off debt, or they're needing to make more money to put a down payment on a car, or whatever it is, hey girl, you're at $1,800 this month. You're only $200 away from the monthly sales award. I know that y'all are working really hard to pay off the debt from whatever, or I know you're working really hard to save for that down payment on a house. And with $200 more in PRV, you're guaranteed a $600 paycheck this month. Things like that are about them. That's what you've got to work on. That's what you've got to work towards. That's what you've got to build on and focus on. How can you help them? Don't make it about you. When you're building these connections and these relationships with these people, it's got to be genuine. It's got to be authentic. It's got to be you genuinely wanting good things for them and wanting to help them build and grow and succeed. If not, you're not going to see the results that you want. If you're making it all about you and all about what you can get out of it, you're not going to have the relationship that you need to have with your frontline. You've got to have a supportive, genuine, coming from a place where you actually authentically want them to succeed, that type of thing. So really think about the wording that you're using when you're communicating with these people. Really think about what your intentions are behind it. If your intentions aren't true in helping them succeed and them benefit, then maybe you need to think about where you're coming from. Maybe you need to think, do some soul searching and think about where you're coming from, because it isn't all about you. I know sometimes it's hard to not think that way, but it is not all about you. You've got to have arrows out always. So one more thing is that you want to have relationships with these people that go beyond Cincy. Am I super close with every single person in my front line? No, there are some people that I barely know because they either joined because they found me on the website, or maybe they ended up rolling up to me because their sponsor quit, whatever the case may be. But there are also people in my front line who I didn't know prior to Cincy, but have become very close friends of mine because of the relationship that I've built with them. And that comes from communicating and also to being involved in their life. Follow them on Facebook. I know lots of people say not to do that. I know lots of people say that they have unfollowed their Cincy friends and their downline and stuff from their Facebook to make room for their customers. But your relationship with your frontline is just as important as your relationship with your customers. It is just as important. You need to see what they've got going on. You need to be showing up to encourage and cheer and support them in whatever it is they have happening. Whether it's a kiddo being born, or a kiddo graduating from high school or college, or maybe a promotion at their husband's or wife's jobs, or maybe they got a new car or bought a new house, whatever it is, you need to be aware of those things, and you need to be showing up to support them and cheer for them in those things too. That's where the relationship is really going to grow. People feel more encouraged or more drawn into something. They're more likely to stay if they feel a connection to something. So if they have a connection with you and a relationship with you, the odds of them staying and continuing to be a part of the Cincy family are going to be much higher than someone who doesn't feel connected. Someone who's disconnected and doesn't have a relationship is not as likely to stay because they don't feel that loyalty. They don't feel like, oh, well, I don't want to miss out on this. Like, if they don't have that connection, they don't know what they're missing out on. So it's up to you to create that. It's up to you to build that. It's up to you to form those bonds that make people want to be a part of this. It's all up to you to create that culture in that community where people are like, you know what? I don't want to miss this. I don't want to leave this. Even if it means me putting in a $200 order every 3 months or 4 months or every other month or whatever I need to do. I want to do that just so that I can stay here, just so that I can continue to be a part of this. And that's what you need to work on. That's what you need to work on building, is a community and a culture within your frontline that people want to stay and be a part of, that people want to they want to communicate and interact and connect with. And that falls back on you. Don't just communicate Cincy with them. Communicate about their life with them. Let them get to know you too. Let them know what you've got going on. Build that relationship. And again, like I said, not everybody's going to want that, and that is totally okay. You figure out what they want from you so that you know how to lead them. Each person's going to be different. So before I let you guys go, what I wanted to say was, regardless of what you took from this, regardless of what you've taken from other trainings and other leaders and other people offering advice and tips in regards to your frontline, find what works for you. Find a system and put it into place, regardless of what it looks like. Maybe you're more digital, that's okay. Maybe you're a pen and paper type of girl, that's okay too. That's me. And I'll tell y'all that one thing that I do, and it has worked well for me over the last couple of years, I implemented it a couple of years ago, and you can do it yourself too, super easy. I created a spreadsheet in Excel. It's an actual spreadsheet that I printed out, and it's called my monthly team task. In that chart are things like mail out your postcards, send the text message, send the email, all the different things that I do for my frontline and for my team and my group. It's in a list January, February, all the way through December. And I go through each month and I check those things off my list. It's old school. It's simple. It's nothing fancy, but it works for me. And it gives me the ability to stay consistent with those things that I have in place for the people in my front line, to ensure that I'm keeping up with all the things that I started and making sure that they continue to hear from me, get recognized from me, and know that I'm here for them. So maybe that's what it looks like for you. Maybe yours is more of a list in your phone or an app, or I don't know, whatever works for you, but just find something and go with it. Put a system in place that will allow you to consistently show up for your front line, so they know that they are important to you, so that they know that you are there for them, and so that they feel valued and recognized and appreciated by you. All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of this virtual SFR. Thank you all so much for showing up. Thank you all for investing in your business and being here. If you're here, you're already winning, because guess what? Those who show up, go up. Y'all have a great one, and go spread some Scentsy love. Bye.